thank you. Thanks for the invitation and opportunity to speak here. So I'm the CEO and co-founder of Parity, and usually I try to do my slides without a script, but this is an important speech for me today, and so I apologize that I stick to the notes for a large chunk of the talk. In 2014, I'm sort of really glad about the subtitle of this this conference. So going back to where we started is an important thing to do and think about every once in a while. And when I was sort of joining this movement in 2014, I was really excited about all the opportunities that were ahead of us. Experimenting with this technology, finding out what it could be that we built with it. But it was clear there would be challenges. And while I'm even more convinced than ever that we need the tools that we're building, the past year has been particularly challenging for us as a company. We started Parity in 2015 with a goal to build the fastest Ethereum client, most secure, the best tools for Ethereum and the decentral web. It was before there was mainstream interest in blockchain and Ethereum. We were excited to pioneer technologies that enabled others to explore these promising ideas. And we were committed to writing the best open source software ever, offering it to the community free of charge. I think we've accomplished a lot in the first year already. We started a new Rust implementation from scratch that by now has more than almost 500,000 lines of code. In total, our repo holds about 1.5 million lines of code. We improved the mining support, we introduced snapshotting, innovated with warp sync, optimized for disk footprint, created UI, a new UI and a secure separate signer. We included DApp hosting and integrated in the end the Ethereum Foundation's multisig wallet. Over the course of 2016, a healthy, somewhat public competition started with a guest team. Is Peter here by any chance? It's sometimes an interesting debate in the social media. It unfolded over performance, speed, and resilience, and it proved particularly beneficial to the entire ecosystem. Some of you might remember in Shanghai the attacks on the network. Attention grew rapidly, and so did the value at stake, I think way faster than anybody of us anticipated back then. In early 2017, gas costs became more and more of an issue for users. We did what back then seemed to be a very sensible modification to the Ethereum wallet's multisig. We improved the gas cost by splitting it up into a model where there was a library contract and a very light wallet that was every time deployed, a user created a multisig. But what first appeared to be a simple and very straightforward upgrade resulted in 2 bugs that initially in July drained the wallets of 3 users, and then later on in November led to 587 multisigs wallet being frozen. While Parity itself does not own any of the affected wallets, to know that our users are still unable to access their funds as a result of an error in our code is an immense burden to the company. We are sorry, and we remain committed to helping all of those that have, through bugs or hacks, lost access to their ether. We are very early pioneers in a new industry where software is money and where one oversight can freeze millions of dollars or ether. And this will affect the very users we all work so hard to support for. Determining a long-term governance model is not an easy feat, but very well spent time. While 2017 has been particularly challenging for us, it hasn't never changed our vision for a decentral web and tech for a more open and equal society. I want to list a few projects that we're working on and that we're quite excited about. It's projects across the stack, starting with the light client, which is becoming more and more important as the state grows and full node incentivization becomes more and more difficult. Over the past few months, we've optimized it, and it's now syncing in a stable way to the net. Another project that we started last year, Parity Bridge, scaling solution for people that want to deploy their projects right now. It's an ERC20 token that allows you to connect DApps on 2 different Ethereum-like chains. Currently, it only supports Ether transfer, but in the future, it's supposed to transfer to allow for any arbitrary message to be transferred between the networks. So in that sense, it's a scaling solution because it allows you to deploy your DApp on a private network that could then in the future be connected or to the mainnet. Another project, and it's a very important piece of infrastructure, is Secret Store. It's a way for generating distributed elliptic key pairs in a decentralized way. That's a project that we started last year. It's a very powerful paradigm when married together with smart contracts, because it allows for private transactions. So where both the state and the code of a smart contract are encrypted and thus will lead to more privacy on the network. Another project that we recently made public, but that has been in the working for a while, is a thing that we all wanted in the team, Parity Mobile Signer, which is a completely air-gapped device, or more like software that you can download on any air-gapped, pretty standard mobile phone. It allows you to sign transactions on your phone without connecting to any network, and thus makes it a very secure way of storing your private keys. Further things, also again for making it easier to build DApps, a JavaScript library that we released, or that Gab started to build last year, abstracting reactive programming, making it really easy to work well with asynchronous RPCs. And then another big project that we started as well last year, the Wasm library. All Ethereum or Ethereum-like chains, as you might know, rely on the EVM, where Solidity is compiled down into EVM bytecode. But as the smart contract ecosystem matures, like it became apparent that there are a lot of drawbacks with the EVM, and that it might be useful to explore other opportunities for the virtual machine. So this is another project that we started. And we think it's a very promising thing, as it allows you to write contracts not only in Solidity, but in any language that Wasm is compatible with. Another piece of infrastructure that we provide is pluggable consensus, so not just Ethash, but any other engine that we've implemented, Aura, like a proof of authority network that you can use, as well as proof-of-stake-based methods like Tendermint. A lot of the work that we've done, and I think it's important to mention, that has been financed by the Energy Web Foundation, and has made it possible to keep this all open source, what we're doing. One place where we use it, or where the community started to use it actually, is the COVID test network, a network that was started in 2017 as a response to the spamming attacks on the public network, on the public test network. It serves for us as a test bed, so you can try out EVM next to Wasm on this network since the last hard fork that we did. libp2p. It's a Rust implementation that we work together with Protocol Labs, a long-term replacement for the dev P2P library. Substrate, a project that is currently in the making and that Gav's going to speak about tomorrow. A place for experimenting with new ideas on sharding, encryption, governance. And then many of you might know that project, Polkadot, a heterogeneous multi-chain framework that we're working on, which will hopefully also be an answer to scaling and security in particular. So Parity here is the first team that is contracted by the Web3 Foundation to develop this technology, but they intend to contract other teams, mainly for the purpose also of security, that will develop that technology in the future. And I guess Peter will speak about this later on. Then, of course, our clients, Parity Bitcoin, supporting various Bitcoin networks, and Parity Ethereum for the best Ethereum, Parity Ethereum for the best Ethereum experience out there. One remark, we recently made a fundamental change here. We split the UI from the main client, and we hope that the community in the future will take up the UI and develop that further. It's a new Electron UI, and I believe Maciej will speak about that at the UX workshop that directly follows the conference. Learning from our mistakes. Making mistakes has changed us. We have refocused our development work and retired the multi-sig wallet, among other things. Where we have to use smart contracts, such as for the bridges, we have completely revamped how we write smart contracts, starting from scratch with everything that we've done and will do in the future. We have more rigorous testing in place, a more rigorous deployment process, more stringent third-party audit requirements, and we employ best practices and work together with our auditing partner, Trail of Bits. I think it's important to mention that as long as we don't have long-term funding in place, we will always rely also on further resources from outside the company, from the community, to support, in particular, third-party reviews of the code. While we've been overhauling the security process from the ground, we've also been trying to figure out a solution to restore the multi-sig users' access to their funds. We believe that those in the community who have stuck Ether, either through the wallet freeze or, for example, issues such as those listed in EIP 156, have a case for attempting to recover the property. While we'd love to operate an error-free system, I think it's important to recognize that the reality is that humans will always make errors in code, code reviews won't catch everything, and hacks will happen. I think it's important to remember that Ethereum is really just at a stage where we're trying to figure it out. In general, there seems to be broad support for fund recovery mechanisms going back as far as EIP 156. There's a strong need for more information around how fund recovery works, and we're committed to providing that information. The last year has been intense for everyone. I personally was holding a 4-week-old baby when I was writing the post-mortem for the multi-sig. Since then, and over the course of the last months, the debate has evolved, and it has uncovered numerous important issues. I think it helped us all come to a better understanding of the underlying arguments, and I'm very much looking forward to hear Preeti's talk in 2 days, what her conclusions are. The debate has also clearly shown the importance for a governance process that can respond to contentious issues, be it ASIC resistance, supply changes, as John mentioned earlier, or the contract restoration. I'm hopeful that we are on a good way to creating and defining a governance process for the best Ethereum made by humans for humans. I think that the last 6 months have advanced a tough conversation, and we are encouraged by the thoughtful responses that we got. I personally believe that one of the main reasons why people are excited about Ethereum and other decentralized tech is that we all believe that it's a better answer to the status quo, and that it could provide systems where we don't suffer from the current issues like corruption that we see these days. And I believe that's that's actually the same reason why we also fear to make the right decisions and take the right choices. I also want to take this opportunity to thank a lot of people that have made meaningful contributions in the last few months, especially in the social media, like try to explain what's going on. Also the security group, I think they're doing an amazing job. It's an informal group that always comes together when there are issues. The White Hat group, who has done an amazing job. And with regard to the FUD that has been out there in the last 2 weeks, I think it's important for us to make clear that we have no intention to harm what we've built. We plan to continue with the work with our users and the community to find a path forward, because we have all dedicated a great amount of time to build what we've built, and there's way more work ahead. We believe Ethereum is an important piece for the decentralized web and continue to be committed to the vision of an open, scalable, and safe web today and in the future. Thanks.
Thanks, Jutta. Maybe another